Just when you think you have seen it all, one more occurrence proves to you that the world doesn't just revolve on its axis. It does around events too. From the 37 million whales, lost World War II aircraft, giant prehistoric creatures, and ships, mysteries are set to be unraveled as we unfold events that seem impossible to believe but happened in the real sense of it. It's a mystery. Prehistoric discoveries often seem to appear inaccessible and extinct. However, tales surrounding this will undoubtedly change at the sight of the 37 million years whales in the Sahara Desert. The prehistoric whale is on the verge of becoming the principal ancestors of whales. Research shows that the whale bones were first discovered in the Wadi el-Hitan in the Egyptian desert, which is thought to be covered by a huge ocean in the prehistoric times, and one of the ruins found is a 37 million year old skeleton of a legged form of whale that measures more than 65 feet, 20 meters, increasingly in length. The old skeleton contains fossils of which is presently in oblivion, as researchers in the Sahara Desert have recently excavated huge numbers of fossil remains. These fossils were then traced to the earliest proof of evolution, whereby the whale changes its mode of habitat from being a terrestrial mammal to an ocean-going mammal. This remains a forever stance for the break and demonstration of the stage of evolution. It depicts life and forms of the whales during their transition. So much has been said of the famous World War II. While some memories remain fresh and intact in the heart of those that are victims, of such as the pilot of the long-forgotten World War II fighter jet named Kitty Hawk P-40. It was a mayday for an altruistic pilot, Dennis Copping, who was forced to crash land the Kitty Hawk P-40 in the early hours of June 28, 1942 in the Sahara Desert. One would have expected a total wash-off of memories of the jet with time, but mystery does take its course, as the reverse is the case. For the 70 years of oblivion which swallowed the Kitty Hawks and its pilot's fate, the 2012 discovery washed off the sand of memories. The Polish oil exploration workers came across the well-preserved World War II P-40 Kitty Hawk in the Egyptian Sahara Desert. The mystery remains that when it was found, most of its instruments were presumably intact. Its guns and ammunition were still intact, although the Egyptian military removed it for safety. It apparently revealed that the Kitty Hawk P-40 is not a norm, but rather a rare and uncommon amongst others. Prehistories of aforetime will sound superstitious to any layman giving the abstracts quoted and assumptions involved in its basis of discovery. But this will surely be a fallacy of hasty generalization if you have neither read nor heard of the giant pelican-like bird. Paleontologists have it in records that the fossil's remains of the giant-like bird found in the Peru's Inca Desert is dated as far back as 30 millions of years. According to findings done by researchers, it is said that the bird resembled a giant pelican that stood more than 2 meters tall, dating from the Oligocene epoch. Meanwhile, the Oligocene spanned above 40 million years to 23 million years before the present age, as it marks the extinction of numerous species. However, the fossils presumably retained remnants of skin. This is arguably the first of its kind, because no similar specimen has been discovered anywhere else in the world or at any given time. The discovery of the great pelican will remain a bolster in the archives of paleontological discoveries. It is not uncommon to find remains of archaeological evidence scattered in remote places. However, it is not every day that you get to see indications that pit scientists against each other. One of the latter is the archaeological finding in Nicats, Peru. While this is not the first archaeological finding in Peru, it is more important than the Paracas skulls, which were discovered in a graveyard in Paracas. The three-fingered hand and skull discovery can potentially tip human history as we used to know it. While a scientific school of thought believes that the finding is the remain of an earlier ancestor of the present-day human, another school of thought believes that the mummies belong to aliens. The convictions on both sides of the table are high. While the mummies share nearly the same height with humans, the absence of a definitive space for the ear also strongly support the alien theory. Which side will you go with? Human or alien? Ever thought of what a ship could be doing in the middle of a sandy desert? But this is precisely where the Eduard Bolin lies, as the German shipwreck sits in the center of the Nambian Desert. On the 5th of September 1909, the ship was foundered, due in part to the rough sea and thick fog. It is not so surprising that today the shipwreck lies 400 meters away from the coast, and ever since 1909, the desert encroachment rate in Namibia has been staggering. After the wreck, the desert encroached upon the sea, forcing it to draw back, and today the wreck sits roughly at the center of the desert. Although the Edward Boleyn is not the only ship whose lonely tale ends on the Namibian coast, its unique location gives it an edge over both the Dunedin Star, which ran around in 1942, and the ill-fated Swederkus that foundered in 1976, and its still decaying hull perched on the beach. You might think that mystery has nothing left to offer humanity. Not until you make mention the Libyan desert glass. A mysterious piece of metal of a golden yellow color dated about 26 million years ago is a mystery to unfold. Tales have it that it must have formed as a result of nuclear explosions, alien activities, etc. Meanwhile, after numerous scientific research, scientists have been able to infer that the glass was formed possibly as a result of a natural meteor impact or a comet impact which generated a high amount of heat on impact and upon mixing with sand, rained liquid glass. However, due to its trinitite form, many believe still that it is a product of radiative melting from a meteoric aerial burst. On the other hand, the Libyan desert glass is already a material used in the production of jewels, mostly Egyptian ancient jewels. And a typical example is a Tutankhamun pendant, of which it is the yellow-green scarab found at the heart of the pendant. Why would a company that used to be responsible for 80% of the world gaming revenue struggle to make ends meet just years later? Assuming I know the answer to that, but why would the same company decide to bury all the remaining console left in its stock? That is still a mystery. However, this exactly happened on September 26, 1983, when Atari buried about 7,000 different cartridges at a location in Mexico, for reasons best known to the company officials. After posting heavy losses following the making and failure of Extraterrestrial Game, the company decided to bury the past and move ahead. But like all secrets, daylight eventually caught up with it. In 2014, after a Microsoft-led excavation team found the site, about 1,700 cartridges were recovered. Meanwhile, James Heller, the Atari manager at the period of the discovery, revealed that he had hitherto ordered the dump site to be covered in concrete. I bet we may never know the reason behind the dump. I am sure not alone when I think geysers are only naturally occurring, which is one thing that marvels about the Fly Geyser. Unlike its Yellowstone counterpart, the Fly Geyser is man-made. It is a small geothermal geyser located on private land in Washoe County, Nevada. The geyser was formed in 1964 during the drilling of a well while prospecting for a possible source of geothermal energy. The well, charged by a deep tectonic lava rock, ensures that the water plumes stay constantly hot. The water rises up to a height of over 5 feet and estimated to be about 250 degrees Celsius, as the geyser panoramic color combination is an outcome of thermophilic algae. The Fly Geyser is closed to public view at the moment, although the non-profit organization Burning Man Project announced that they had recently acquired the Fly Ranch, which houses the geyser, for $6.5 million. So there are speculations that the geyser may be open to public view soon.